Pope Francis, a man who has revolutionized the Vatican, has shaken the traditions and expectations of millions of Catholics around the world. His modest lifestyle, bold statements, and reform choices have made him a controversial and fascinating figure. But what about his teachings? Why has he sparked so much debate within the Church itself? In this video, we'll dive into the most surprising and divisive aspects of his papacy. 1. A Pope of Contradictions. Between modernity and tradition, Pope Francis chose to live away from the luxury and grandeur associated with his role. Unlike his predecessors, who resided in the Apostolic Palace, Francis opted for a simpler residence, a guest house at the Vatican. He dresses simply and emphasizes values like solidarity, kindness, and inclusion. However, his desire to change things and modernize the Church has also sparked much criticism. Some Catholics, particularly among the more conservative, view his reforms as a threat to the integrity of the Christian faith. Others, however, see them as a necessary update to Christian values to better adapt to the challenges of the modern world. 2. Ideas that unsettle. A new look at the Bible. One of the most controversial proposals from Pope Francis concerns his view of the Bible. According to him, the scriptures should not be taken literally, but interpreted in a way that speaks to us today. For example, the story of Genesis would not just be an account of the origin of the world, but a call to understand our responsibility toward the earth and to establish a deeper relationship with God. For traditionalists, this approach raises concerns. Could altering the interpretation of sacred texts change the foundations of the Catholic faith? Some fear that such a modern reading of the Bible could question essential dogmas of the Church. 3. The hell debate. The controversy that divided the Church. One of Pope Francis' most astonishing statements concerns hell. According to some reports, he stated that the souls of sinners who do not repent would cease to exist. This is a radically different view of hell than the one traditionally taught. This statement caused a great stir, especially among those who consider hell to be a place of eternal suffering. Despite clarifications from the Vatican, this declaration opened up a wide debate. If Pope Francis denies the existence of hell in its traditional form, what about the salvation of souls? This issue has sparked endless discussions, challenging the unity of the Church. 4. LGBTQ+ and marriage, a revolutionary stance. In 2021, Pope Francis also shocked many by changing the Vatican's policy on same-sex couples. Priests are now allowed to bless these couples, a bold decision that goes against the traditional teachings of the Catholic Church. This move towards the LGBTQ+ community has divided Catholics. While some applaud this change, others believe the Pope is violating the fundamental principles of Catholic doctrine. Some even question his legitimacy as Pope, arguing that his ideas stray too far from Orthodox teachings, questioning capitalism and social injustice. Pope Francis is also a fierce critic of capitalism and social inequality. He argues that the current capitalist system neglects the most vulnerable and places financial interests above human well-being. The Pope has even claimed that money, cars, and phones, far from bringing people closer to God, push them further from his light. For many, these social stances resemble a more socialist view of the world, an approach that has sparked debates among those who consider the Church to be politically neutral. But for the Pope, social justice and solidarity are moral imperatives that must guide the actions of the Church. 6. The controversial statement on abortion. Pope Francis has also addressed complex ethical issues such as abortion. While he maintains that abortion is morally wrong, he has also expressed positions of mercy, allowing priests to forgive women who have had abortions, a stance that breaks with a stricter tradition. This decision has further intensified his reputation as a reformer, but it has also exacerbated tensions within the Church. Is it possible to be merciful without compromising the fundamental principles of Catholicism? A question that continues to divide. 7. The death penalty, a radical change. In 2018, Pope Francis took a radical stance against the death penalty, calling it always wrong no matter the circumstances. This declaration marked a turning point in the history of the Church, which had previously allowed the death penalty in certain cases. This change sparked a chain reaction, with many critics, both inside and outside the church, accusing the Pope of straying from traditional doctrine. But the Pope, true to his vision of mercy and human dignity, stood by his position firmly. The legacy of Francis. As his papacy continues to face both internal and external opposition, Pope Francis remains an iconic figure in the Catholic Church. Between being a bold reformer and a heretic for some, his approach to spiritual and social issues is redefining what it means to be Catholic in the 21st century. Pope Francis embodies a bridge between the past and the future of the Church, and while his ideas continue to divide, they also push for a deeper reflection on how to live the faith in an ever-changing world. Perhaps the legacy of Francis lies not in the answers he provides, but in the questions he raises. What do you think? Is Pope Francis a true reformer, or are his ideas going too far? Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe to keep up with our exploration of major figures in modern history.